I decide to become a real estate agent, then I'll understand the real estate market. I'll understand where the deals are, what the deals look like, what the upside of the deals are. And then I'd be in a better position once I was ready to invest to actually put my money to work, because now I know about investing, sort of, right? What's up, YouTube? My name is Andres Restrepo and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be telling you why I got into the real estate industry, why I decided to do it in San Francisco of all places in the world, and how it's going so far. So I hope you enjoy. The very first time I came to San Francisco was back in October of 2017. I had a cousin that would always come and visit me down in Medellin because his parents were there. And every year he would come and he would say, "Hey man, you really got to come up to San Francisco, California." And I would just kind of brush it off, you know, because we'd always be having such a good time in Medellin and my life was amazing down there. I really felt no need to move up here. But he would always insist, "Andres, you should come check it out. You should come check it out." Well, one year I finally said, "All right, man, I'll be up there this year." So I asked him, "Hey, what's the best time to go and check out San Francisco?" He said October, because here in the Bay Area we have what's called Indian summer, which is typically in the fall season. Really cool time to come into the city. It's usually nice and warm. We get up in the 70s and 80s that time of year. I came up in October, had a blast. My cousin took me out to every single spot that you could think of. Being a sound engineer, the very first time he took me to a Parliament Funkadelic concert. So for those of you that may not know, Parliament Funkadelic is one of the originators of the West Coast rap sound. So if you like Dr. Dre, or if you like any of the West Coast classics and you listen to Parliament Funkadelic, you'll notice a lot of the melodies in those tracks. I had a really fun time. The city, the streets, the vibe, everything was super, super cool. So I was one day just casually strolling around, and at the time in Colombia I was reading a lot of real estate books, and I knew I wanted to be an investor, but I didn't know how I should go about it. I wasn't really quite sure you know, how real estate investment worked at all, for that matter. I decided to search what the median price of a single family home was in San Francisco. So I go on Dr. Google, boop, 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 boop. How much is the average price of a single family home? This was back in 2017. Google says 1.4 million. I was like, holy smokes, that totally blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's insane. So I was like, hold up, how much would you make if you sold one of these houses?
Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions.
Crazy amounts of money, right? I mean, for anybody that knows, you know, typical commission in real estate is 6%, and that's usually split between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. So usually 3.5 to 3 goes to the listing agent, and 2.5 to 3 goes to the buyer's agent. Obviously, we don't factor in taxes and splits and the cost of doing business and actually finding a client. But when you're a young kid looking at that number, you're like, all right, I'm going for it, you know? So I did. And after coming here, I was literally here for 7 days. I go back to Medellin, Colombia after my vacation, and I sell everything I have, and I come up with a plan to become a licensed real estate agent. So I literally started looking into the courses, how much that would cost, how much time it took, and I got straight to work. So I decided to enroll for a online class. I believe the name of the school was California Realty Training. I'm not getting paid for that, so I mean, if you're thinking about getting your license, maybe check them out, or do your own research. But that's the company that I went with, and at the time I was inspired by a lot of the YouTubers that, you know, many of you may know today. Graham Stephan was a big inspiration. Brian Casella, you know, I thought was pretty cool too. Like he kind of, you know, gave you, you know, a little rough around the edges description of what the business is: cold calling, door knocking, you know, pretty much sales. A lot of people think that real estate is just, you know, this glamorous thing where you just show up and you sell a house and you just keep doing that all the time. It's actually sales. So it's a business, right? And you have to treat it as such. So I really, I had a little bit of a game plan. So my game plan was, you know, once I got back to Colombia to get, obviously, you know, to finish my coursework, literally sold everything that I had, absolutely everything, my car, all of the possessions in my apartment. I even had a girlfriend at the time. I mean, I left everything behind, okay, to come here and pursue, you know, a greater life, right? I wanted a life of purpose. I wanted to, you know, make large amounts of money so that I could, you know, take care of my family and just live an awesome life. I pretty much got straight to work as soon as I got to San Francisco. So I'll never forget, I got here in January 31st of 2018 with a plan of action, right? I had $9,000 that were literally stuffed in my pants, right? That's all cash. That's all the money I had in the world, pretty much. 9,000 bucks and a dream to kind of make this happen and make this work in this crazy expensive city. I mean, for those of you that don't know, back then, you know, the average one bed in San Francisco was $3,700, right, a month. Right now, it's trending closer to 32, which is still a lot of money, especially if, you know, you're trying to get up and running. You know, 9K, you do the math. That's not really that big of an emergency fund. But at the time, I was living with roommates with my cousin. It was only $1,000 a month. And I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had to go and start, you know, looking for business and alleys into the business. So my goal was pretty clear cut. I decided I was gonna go and look for the best agents that I could possibly find at Keller Williams at the time, because California Realty Training, I believe they have like a sort of program where you do pretty much like the coursework through them, and they kind of naturally guide you into that brokerage. So I went with them, which is totally fine. I mean, they have great education. The splits were pretty tough, in my opinion, now that I know kind of like how splits typically work in the city. It's different in every market, so I'm not bashing them. Their education programs are amazing, but it was a little bit of a learning curve. So I decided to go to Keller Williams, and I would literally show up with a box of cookies and go to the agents and just try to talk to them and say, hey, are you looking for you know, a showing agent? Are you looking for a buyer's agent? Are you looking for anything at this point? Administrative, I was just looking for work. I was looking for a job. I wanted to learn. And I was pretty much clear set that real estate was the path that I wanted to be on. I ended up getting connected, you know, pretty much within a month of me moving here to a top 5 agent in the city of San Francisco. I mean, this lady was doing on average 60 million plus a year, right? So, I mean, that's a big chunk of change. Definitely, you know, gross commission income in the 1 million plus range, which is very impressive. And I decided to learn from her. And, you know, she took me on, she mentored me, she polished me, she taught me about contracts, she taught me about negotiations, she taught me about disclosures, she taught me about open houses, etc. So that was a little kind of the backstory of why I decided to get into the real estate industry. Originally, I was kind of looking to learn how to become a good investor, and it just kind of clicked in my mind. Okay, if you want to be a real estate investor, what's one of the best ways that you can kind of get into the business? And it just kind of made sense. Well, what if I decide to become a real estate agent? Then I'll understand the real estate market. I'll understand where the deals are, what the deals look like, what the upside of the deals are. And then I'd be in a better position once I was ready to invest to actually put my money to work, because now I know about investing, sort of, right? It's been an amazing journey so far. Like I said, I got here in January 31st of 2018. I just crossed a little bit over my 3-year mark here in San Francisco. I officially got my license in May of 2018. So it took a few months. I had finished all my courses while I was in Colombia. So when I got here, I just pretty much had to do all the paperwork to get my license, not my license, my test originally, and then my license. So there's a few steps that go into place, like doing a background check, sending your fingerprints, and all that fun stuff. But once you pass that test, then the real work begins, and that's learning how to operate a business, learning about lead generation, learning about prospecting, creating a database, and all the fun things, or not so fun things for some folks that go with real estate. So that's my story. That's why I decided to get into the real estate industry. I decided San Francisco because I had my cousin here. I also decided San Francisco because, for one, I like competition. I know this is an extremely competitive market, and I know it's competitive because of the price point. We're talking about 1, 2, 3, 5, you know, multiple $1 million homes, really big commissions, really big upside. So, you know, a lot of the top agents in the city have been doing this for 20 plus years, you know, and have amazing track records, and they all know each other. It's a small city. It's only 7x7. So here I am, obviously establishing now a digital presence so I can bring you some awesome content, give you a backstory about my life. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to subscribe to see some more future content, I'd love to have you join me on this amazing journey, which I'm just now starting on. And if you have any questions or would like to leave a comment, please leave a comment below. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Without further ado, I hope everybody has an amazing day, evening, month, week, year, what have you, and I'll see you in the next video.